Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we talk about what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Now today I want to talk about Russian business and the current economic climate. It was recently reported by the government statistics agency Rosstat there was a 6% decline in the net profit of Russian companies in 2024. Now they state this was anticipated given the deterioration in working conditions, according to economists surveyed by the Expert magazine. However, the decline was predominantly concentrated in sectors that are vulnerable to the other risks posed by foreign policies and sanctions. Otherwise, the year shows either a continuation of the confident growth of previous years, as in mechanical engineering, and not only in defence, or a long-awaited exit from the red zone for sectors like wood processing and the automotive industry. The overall situation is not as severe as it may seem at first glance. Vladimir Salnikov, who's Deputy Director of the Centre for Macroeconomic Analysis and Short-Term Forecasting, provided an analysis. He said profits decreased primarily in sectors where it was predictable due to the external economic challenges. These included a decline in the wholesale trade of 46%, and down to 1.8 trillion, metallurgy down 9%, and the chemicals industry 10%. Now, these declines are attributable to the external economic challenges and the mounting sanctions pressures. Conversely, though, the oil and gas industry was up 15.7% and has shown positive results when considering the impact of the voluntary restrictions on oil production through the OPEC Plus deal. The net financial result of the wholesale trade has fallen almost by half due to the inclusion of the gas-producing companies, whose results continue to be affected by the following foreign policy pressure and the lower level of gas exports. In addition, high interest rates and logistics costs have had a significant impact on the margins of all wholesalers. Now, according to Alexander Ivanov, who's an analyst at the Macroeconomics Institute at Ingolstadt Investments. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website SCOBRICSinsight.com to further develop it. You can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now. Now, in addition to these factors, the retail trade was down 2%, and it's been pressured by rising wages, which are up 23% year on year adjusted for the seasonality, which has led to a reduction in the retailers' profits. Ivanov also noticed that the landscape in the retail market is gradually changing, with online sites being used by the marketplaces to reduce prices, which is having a negative impact on the profits of small stores and bricks and mortar. There's also been a notable shift in consumer behaviour towards the online shopping sector, leading to a decline in the footfall and spontaneous purchases in the shopping malls. Now, in response to this, retailers are allocating substantial resources to developing their online presence, which is contributing to the rising costs. Conversely, the property sector has experienced a surge in profits, primarily driven by the building and management of warehouse complexes, which are a critical component of the business operations of these marketplaces and the large networks. Now, according to Salnikov from the Centre for Macroeconomic Analysis and Short-Term Forecasting, the inefficiency of the current natural monopolies became very evident in 2024. The clearly negative trends were the sharp decline in profits from rail transportation was particularly striking. It was down 31%. And the major factor for this was the growth of costs and the increasing load on the infrastructure. The tracks, as you say, one might say, are overloaded, too much traffic chasing too little capacity. Now, this is problematic as rail transportation currently plays a pivotal role in the development of the new logistics chains. Another pertinent example is the provision of electricity and heat, either gas and steam, which decreased by 35%. As Salnikov alluded to, tariffs in this sector are growing at a significantly slower rate than costs, which have been driven in part by the absence of adequate incentives to enhance efficiency, compounded by an excess of less efficient capacities that are not being decommissioned to non-economic factors. The Economist highlights that the electricity and heat supply is a natural monopoly industry, meaning that often the most efficient option is to keep a plant open, even when it's not the most cost-effective. Cheap energy, you see. I mean, this is because the only source of heat and electricity for a city is that. In 2024, the sectors most adversely affected and the negative external factors environment are demonstrating now a return to profitability. I mean, wood processing, for example, which suffered significantly from the closure of the European markets, particularly Finland, has shown a notable turnaround, reporting pre-tax profits of over 25 billion, which is rubles, which is contrasted with a loss of over 4 billion back in 2023. Salnikov also notes that the sector has adapted by optimising its cost and establishing new deliveries to new destinations in various other countries. The automotive industry, which includes the production of motor vehicles, trailers and semi-trailers, is another notable example of the sector that's shown particular significant profit growth. In 2024, the industry's profits increased by 2.1 times, and its profit growth has also continued in mechanical engineering as a whole. Now, it's not only those segments where the defence and enterprise are concentrated, but also those that are mostly civilian. I mean, active growth has been observed here over the last 2 years, and the preservation of this growth is a very positive signal. A substantial increase in the pre-net tax profit of the building construction sector is also evident, reaching a 1.5-fold growth. That's up 50%. Construction companies have consistently accumulated financial reserves recently, even in the face of the challenging industry conditions characterised by a significant decline in the government-backed subsidised mortgages and the record high key interest rates. Now, Salnikov also expressed concerns that measures to support the construction industry, which are being currently discussed as expanding family mortgage, might actually be a bit too hasty. He suggests waiting for a correction in housing prices before introducing them, as prices on the housing market remain at record-breaking levels, and the affordability of current housing is actually much lower. I mean, the provision of immediate assistance to builders could accelerate further price growth in property, particularly in light of their significant profits. I mean, in 2025, Russian companies are expected to experience a continued decline in their total profits, according to Boris Kopelkin, who's chief economist at the Stolpen Institute of Growth Economics. So despite the robust domestic demand dynamics, the financial performance of companies is under pressure from rising costs, and these include rising labour costs and the interest payments on their debt obligations. I mean, this year interest expenses are expected to continue to remain high, and wages will continue to grow, but obviously at a slower pace than in recent years. However, it is likely that economic dynamics will experience a slowdown in 2025. In addition to this, the Economist points out that the expected increase in financial obligations that companies will face, and arrives at the unfortunate conclusion that profit dynamics in 2025 will be solely driven by the inflationary processes, and a further reduction in profit margins is highly likely against the backdrop of the anticipated growth in the number of unprofitable companies that are going to go out of business. However, as Ivanov from Ingolstadt Investment says, sustained growth in several industries and segments is expected. In the foreseeable future, that by 2025, 2026, profit growth will persist in the education, medical, pharmaceutical, plus logistics and warehouse management sectors. Undoubtedly, the processing sector will continue to expand, driven by a substantial proportion of government-based orders. However, in contrast, the retail sector is not expected to experience a significant surge in profits in the near future due to the ongoing challenges in the labour market, high interest rates, and the consumer's inclination towards a savings model. Russians are very big savers. Now, regarding the potential support measures the statement in play, Kopelkin actually suggests that given the limited availability of labour resources, it's going to be prudent to focus on support measures for the most efficient industries and companies rather than the sectors that are lagging. He said this approach will enhance the efficiency of investment resources, boost productivity and accelerate the transformation of the economy as a whole. So that's the situation in the Russian economy. It's still growing, unlike what's happening in the West. Growth rates are expected still to be high, probably not as high as the 4.8% of 2024, but certainly going to be harmed. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. If you want to help me out, click on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.